Welcome everybody to the CCHL Network Game of the Week. We made the trip down to the south side of Chicago for this one at Morgan Park Sports Center. It is the Mount Carmel Caravan at home against the visiting Fenwick Friars. My name is Dylan Ward. So happy you found us okay on YouTube tonight. It's going to be a good one. The Fenwick Friars beat the Mount Carmel Caravan in their previous two CCHL matchups, and they beat them as well in a tournament in Indiana. So they will look for the season sweep, not just in league play, but in overall play as well. And the teams are warming up here. I'm joined by David Ventura. We'll send it down to him in just a moment as the teams continue to warm up. Just 2:30 on the clock. And David, if you are ready, we can send it down to you. David is standing by with head coach of Fenwick, Nick Fabrini. So David, take it away.
Thanks, Dylan. I'm here with head coach Nick Fabrini. Coach, you've seen a lot of success out of Dominic Fosco. What have you liked from him throughout the season that you've seen out of him?
I think that his compete level has really come up the last couple of weeks especially. I was just looking the other day, and since like December 1st, the last 6 weeks, he's really been on fire offensively. And I think that's kind of coincided with him getting so much better away from the puck. His skill set is outstanding, but him learning to play without the puck, I think, has really taken his game to another level.
And Coach, you guys have not scored a goal in the first period in the past 3 CCHL games. What are you looking out of your guys tonight to get to a hot start?
We got to come out. Last time we played these guys, we came out flying, and their goalie was played very, very well. I think their goalie's their best player, so it's important for us to make him uncomfortable early and get a lot of pucks and bodies to the net, and get to our game early on.
All right, thanks, Coach. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, Dave.
Send it back up to you in the booth, Dylan.
Thank you very much, David, as now he will make his way back up to the booth as well. In sort of an awkward position here at Morgan Park Sports Center, but it'll have to do. Myself, Dylan Ward, and David Ventura on the call for you fine people. Jimmy Olsen makes his return after his trip, and he is back in the engineer's seat. Matt Budin on the camera. We've got a 4-person squad here, and we're ready for a good one. Only 40 seconds to go in the warm-up period, and then we will be underway. The Mount Carmel Caravan, the home team, wearing their brown jerseys with white accents. It's a nice, simple, but clean look for Mount Carmel. Reminds me a lot of New Trier's alternate jerseys this season, the green and white look. On the other side, the Fenwick Friars going with white jerseys with black accents. So not too much of a color scheme for either of these two sides, but a good jersey matchup nonetheless. And now David has made his way down from the bench up here to the booth. And it sounded like the biggest thing was to get off to a hot start in that interview with the head coach. And he was talking about the goaltender, Matthew DiFilippo, the only CCHL All-Star from this Mount Carmel Caravan team. And to tell you the truth, he's really been the only goalie for this team in CCHL play, playing every single minute of the regular season.
Yeah, and that's tough for a goalie too, especially considering the fact that his team in front of him isn't necessarily what he was hoping for. I know, talking to the head coach of Mount Carmel before, Tom Mahan, that he had some guys at the start that kind of dropped due to playing AAA and going to some other teams. And that's something that Mount Carmel definitely had to step back because of that. But they're going to try and roll forward with that, definitely having a lot of young guys on their team this year.
Well, David, you mentioned that stat about Fenwick not scoring in the first period in their last 3 regular season games. One of those was a matchup against this Mount Carmel team. That game was 0-0 after 1, 1-1 after 2, and then it went all the way down to late in the third period. It was a 4-3 game before the Friars exploded and put up 8 goals for an 8-3 final.
Yeah, and that's something that the Fenwick Friars are going to try and find themselves to have success for tonight in terms of getting off to that hot start. As I've talked to head coach Nick Fabrini about that too, especially considering the fact that they haven't scored a goal in the first period in the past 3 CCHL games. However, considering some of the offense they've seen against this Mount Carmel team, they don't necessarily think that they're going to have troubles doing that today.
Well, one of 2 twins on the Fenwick team will get the start in net. Number 32, Cole Alessi. 7-6 record on the season, a 2.46 goals against average, 873 save percentage, and Matthew DiFilippo, the CCHL All-Star with a C on his chest, something you don't see a lot for the goaltender position, gets the start on our end. 0-17-1 records, exactly the same as the team. 4.56 goals against average, 893 save percentage. We're underway on the south side of Chicago. Please sit back and enjoy this one on the CCHL Network. Fenwick looking to pressure early. This quick shot from a tough angle off the stick of Owen Fask goes high of the net, so it's grabbed by the Caravan. Intercepted, Corvo, and a shot misses the net here off the stick of Joey Kurzak. Comes out to neutral ice. Here comes Mount Carmel the other way. Londos on the near side boards. Lost it. Corvo's got it. Here's a pass over, and that wouldn't connect with anyone there. Here's a pass to the blue paint curtain right there. Diving on it is DiFilippo to keep it out, and a quick chance for Fenwick, stuffed by the goaltender early. Here's another save by DiFilippo, and he was onto something when he said the goaltender is probably the best guy on the team.
Yeah, I mean, this is the start that the Fenwick Friars wanted. This faceoff is going to go outside of the zone because that puck was just outside the zone, so that's going to be offsides. But this is the start the Fenwick Friars are exactly what they're looking for. Just that the Mount Carmel Caravan have an absolute stud in net, so they're going to have to find ways to screen them or move that puck and try and get one past DiFilippo.
Quick deflection out of play right off the faceoff. Already 4 shots for Fenwick, none for the Caravan. Most of this game so far being played in the attacking zone of the visitors, but very early in this one, just a minute 10 in. Here comes Michael Curtin into the zone, lost the puck, will chase after it into the corner. It's taken away by Mount Carmel. Jacob Ferguson helps it out to neutral ice, and it's grabbed by Jonathan Sveet. Now Kala plays it off the boards. He was looking for Fosco, but it gets taken away at the blue line by Anthony Wiseman. Goes down to Jacob below the goal line. It gets taken away by Fenwick. Now here they come with speed. It's Owen Fask. He'll take a shot from the right circle, and that's patted away by DiFilippo. Now Owen Fask again centers it at the slot. A shot by Fosco is stopped once again. Already 6 out of 6 for the Caravan goalie.
And DiFilippo's off to that hot start as his positioning is just exactly what you want to see out of goaltender. The agility, his movement is just textbook. And that's something that the Friars knew coming into this game and also are going to have to almost go over this barrier in terms of how are we going to get a puck in the back of the net.
Johnny Senna was waiting at the blue line to try a partial breakaway, but couldn't handle the puck cleanly. So instead, here comes Tantero. Now Fleming centers it. Senna, his shot from right and close is stopped by the pads of DiFilippo. And boy, David, I have a feeling we're going to be saying the name DiFilippo a lot tonight.
Yes, we are. And also in the pre-game talks with some of the coaches, Tom Mahan also brought that up, that we're going to be saying DiFilippo a lot today, as we've already had to say his name multiple times. 8 shots on net for the Fenwick Friars, and we have 14 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the first period.
Fleming dumps this one down below the goal line with a backhand. Grabbed by Verney, near side corner. 119 gives it up to another, and Kalki helps it out to neutral ice. Just 3 minutes into this one, no score, but 8 shots to nothing in favor of the visiting Fenwick Friars in white. Dylan Ward and David Ventura, if you're joining us late, happy to have you. We're just getting started on the south side on this week's CCHL Game of the Week. Fenwick Friars and the Mount Carmel Caravan. Mount Carmel looking to break a 30-game winless drought in league play. They only have 1 win in all competitions this season. It came in an Indiana tournament, the Bishop Knoll Invitational, one that Fenwick was also at. These two teams played each other at that tournament as well. Fenwick won 7-1. Now here's a break and a shot from Joey Kurzak, and that goes high of the net.
That shot there by Kurzak just missed the net. And that did not miss far from the top right corner from his vantage point. Sure, the Fenwick Friars like to see that chance when you have a pretty much one-on-one shot with the goalie on net instead of missing it high and wide.
Below the goal line, it's Buckley being pressured by Mercado. Now joining him is Fiddler to help get it out. The pass out to neutral, missed a man, so instead it'll be an icing against the Caravan. They'll take a D-zone face-off here with 12:48 to go in the opening frame.
Pretty good start for the Friars, not the start the Caravan were hoping for. However, they still have the rest of this first period and the second and the third to be able to score on their chances. Mount Carmel is known for not getting many shots per game, but on some of those shots, they capitalize on it more than most teams. So we'll see what happens as we continue on here.
Well, David, in their previous 2 meetings this season, Fenwick outshot them for a combined count of 113-23. But in those 23 Mount Carmel shots, they were able to muster 4 goals out of it in an 8-1 loss and an 8-3 loss most recently. These 2 teams playing for the second time this month met up on January 5th. It was each team's respective first game of the new calendar year. That was the one where Fenwick won 8-3. Now here comes Kurzak entering the zone, right wing side, over the blue line, around 1 man. Keeps the puck, circles below the net, centers it, and Matiziak couldn't get that one on target.
And that's elite patience there by Kurzak. Just waiting with the puck, a lot of patience, and he finds a guy out in front. Unfortunately, they're not able to connect on that, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot more out of that as we continue on.
Neutral zone play along the near side boards. It's recovered by the Friars. They will poke this one into the zone, but it's taken here by Mercado. Slides it over to Wiseman. He will play it off the near side boards, and it goes down to Fenwick's end. 11:15 to go in this first period. Waiting for either of these teams to break the ice. Fenwick trying to do that here with a shot, but that missed the net wide. It gets arced out to neutral ice. Grabbed by Fleming, and he will backhand this one in. The referees picked up a stray stick. It's like he was trying to hand that off to the player missing it. That was Anthony Wiseman. Wiseman right now still doesn't have a stick. You can see him skating out there trying to make plays without one. Now Fenwick has a chance. Here's a shot. That one off the stick of Jonathan Svet, and that wouldn't go.
Dylan, we've seen pucks bounce off boards in the Caravan defensive end that are taking really weird bounces, and that's right on that red line. We saw one bounce right out in front and one right in front of us here. So on our end of the ice, just bounce out. So instead of the puck wrapping all the way around the boards like it normally does, it's taking these weird bounces off the boards, and we're going to see a lot more of that today. In fact, the Friars were almost able to capitalize on that opportunity as they saw a puck kind of bounce out in the middle of nowhere. And DiFilippo had no idea where the puck was, and the Friars tried to get that one on net. They just missed the net there. So we're going to see a lot of pucks wrapped around the boards, and it's going to take weird bounces.
And that's something about this rink, David. I know you played high school hockey for Glenbrook South. Mentioned to me earlier that you've never been to this rink, and for Mount Carmel, that's something that you can use as home ice advantage when you know those patterns. And a team like Fenwick, who doesn't play here all that often, might not. 10 minutes to go, opening frame. No goals in the contest yet. Mount Carmel looking for their first shot on target of this one.
And Dylan, as Mount Carmel had that little 2-on-1 there, it's a great defensive play by John Moore. Lifts the stick of a Mount Carmel, and he finds himself being able to give the Fenwick Friars an offensive rush.
Curtin just rang that one off the post, close to the first goal of the game. You got to expect Fenwick's going to be the team to break the ice first. But here's a centering pass, and they tip it in! Mount Carmel strikes first. Never mind what I'm saying. 9:24 to go in the first period, and it's 1-0 to the home side. Getting the goal, Vincent Siochi for his third of the year.
And Dylan, that's a little bit of the defensive breakdown there by the Friars too, as they left multiple guys wide open right in front. They had 3 guys go right for the puck as opposed to playing almost that man-on-man you want to see on defense, maybe even 2 guys with the puck, but they left a guy wide open right in front. And now Mount Carmel is ahead 1-0.
And that's a dream start for the Caravan and head coach Tom Mahan. The goaltender for the Friars, Cole Alessi, has allowed a goal on the only shot he's faced so far. Fenwick's going to come back into the zone looking to respond. Here's a shot, stuffed away, blocked in close by Eric Mercado. Now here's Fosco. They punch it out. Chasing after this puck now is Ramiro. He takes a shot, and that goes off the end boards. Now into the zone comes Harkenrider. He will take a shot, and that one's blockered away for Alessi's first save. Matthew Harkenrider, number 86 out there in brown, is their leading point producer with 6 on the season. By the way, that's 67th place overall in the league of 9 teams. Now here's Carter Fask, the junior brother of the sophomore-junior duo. Carter Fask, around one, takes a shot, hit the side of the net, tries a wraparound. That wouldn't go on the rebound. That wouldn't go either. Fenwick is pressuring. They want to come back and tie this game, but DiFilippo is holding his ground strong.
The Friars have had a lot of offensive opportunities. They just haven't been able to find a way to get past DiFilippo, and that's something that they're going to have to kind of feel out as this game goes on in terms of as we see another bad bounce off that boards. But the Friars are going to have to find a way to move the puck around and get DiFilippo to moving, because if you're going to just get a basic shot from the top of the hash marks, the odds of you picking a corner on him are not very high.
Here's an icing by the Caravan. We'll reset with an attacking zone face-off for the Fenwick Friars with 7:11 to go in the first period. It's the home side, Mount Carmel, leading 1-0.
And Dylan, as we spoke on earlier, Mount Carmel doesn't get a lot of shots per game necessarily, but they're able to capitalize on the few that they do get. As we see right now, they're leading the game 1-0, and they only have 2 shots on net.
Now they play with it in their own zone off the glass. Fenwick grabs possession away. Now the Caravan into the zone, but gets taken away once again by the Friars. Out to neutral ice. Here comes Thaddeus Kolke. Taken away by the Caravan, and this one gets dumped down below the goal line. Fenwick battling for a good seed in the CCHL playoffs. They have already clinched the playoffs. Actually, every team in the league is clinched except for this Mount Carmel Caravan team and the Notre Dame College Prep Dons. Fenwick, if you remember last season, upset Providence Catholic in the first round of the Kennedy Cup playoffs to advance to the semifinals, where they ultimately lost to St. Ignatius. Pardon me, it was Bennett, but there's an offsides here, and we'll get a neutral zone draw.
The Friars were definitely off to that hot start. However, they kind of almost like declined, you could say, as Mount Carmel was able to get a goal on the Fenwick Friars, and it almost lowered their ego a little bit, their self-esteem in terms of how this game's turned out. Friars have had a good amount of shots, but now they're going to need to find a way to capitalize on those chances and shots that they've been given by the Caravan.
Well, David, I want to ask you, being a former hockey player at this high school level, when you come into a game against a team who, you're supposed to beat on paper, and they get off to a 1-0 lead, and even if you're out shooting them, what does that do on the bench? What kind of mood is on the bench after something like that?
On the bench, really all it does is create frustration, and even on the ice too, where you see hits and contact that maybe aren't necessarily necessary, but something to kind of get that anger out, especially since you're down 1-0. It's still early in the game, but you're down 1-0 against a team you probably really shouldn't be down 1-0 against. So it creates a lot of frustration, but the team's going to be able to have to handle that and not let that get the worst of them.
Mount Carmel scores the fewest goals in the CCHL, averaging just over 1 per game on average. But they do have 4 straight CCHL games with 2 or more goals. They've got one in the first period now. Of course, we mentioned it earlier, Fenwick comes into this one without a goal in the first period in the last 3 games. Mount Carmel trying to add another, but this shot off the stick of Daniel Fiddler is stopped by Alessi.
And we haven't had to say Alessi's name much today, but the Fenwick Friars had a little miscommunication on defense there. The puck was bouncing around a little bit, but Alessi comes up big for the Friars. This was a one-on-one chance with just the shooter and the goalie, and Alessi's able to win that one.
Face-off win for the Friars in their end. They force it out to neutral ice, lose possession, get it back. Now it's taken away by the Caravan. They'll force it back into the zone. Kurzak will play back with it. Pass it over to the far side. Now waiting is Billy Buckley. He tips this one down, and it gets taken away by Mount Carmel. Interception in neutral ice, and a backhand into the zone by Luke LaChance.
Dylan, that's something we've seen a lot out of Mount Carmel today, is stretching the ice. When the Friars are making a change, they have a guy typically on the off wing for the Caravan stretching the ice and really making sure that the Friars don't come in and attack on the offensive zone, almost play defensive-minded right off that change.
3 minutes and 45 seconds to go in period number 1. Mount Carmel in brown, leading 1-0 on their home ice. Fenwick trying to tie things up. Fleming down into the corner. Now to Fosco, centers it for Fask, but he couldn't hang on to it cleanly. A stick got in the way. Now they'll dump it in again. Chase after the puck. Thomas Fleming into the corner. Takes a hit into the corner by Wiseman. Now down to Fleming again. Finally, Londos helps it out to neutral ice. Owen Fask gives it up. Londos into the zone. He will take a shot from the right side, and that's cleanly into the glove of Alessi with 3:03 in the first.
And Dylan, I see Matthew Harkenrider float out of the zone for the Caravan. Another one of a Caravan player floating out of the zone, not allowing the Friar defenseman to stay on that blue line and continue that offensive pressure. So we've seen a lot of Friars D forced to back up behind that blue line, and that's not allowing them to keep pucks in.
Off the face-off, Fenwick's got it again. Through neutral ice, it's Senna. Over the blue line, takes a shot that got blocked on the rebound. A one-timer attempt by Curtin, but he fanned on it. And it gets forced back out to neutral. Fenwick will take possession, dump this one in down to the corner, and Mount Carmel brings it out.
It's a big block there by number 7, Anthony Wiseman for the Caravan. That shot hurts too, especially right off the skate. So we see him limping off the ice, but that's something that you're going to get props from your team. Not forcing your goalie to make a save and giving your team that puck back in an offensive opportunity.
2:20 now in the first period. Matiziak was waiting at the blue line. He spins to elude a check, gives it right away, and Brian Leahy now. Down into Fenwick's end. They'll dump this one down, grabbed by Connor McClellan. Now into the corner. It's Thaddeus Kolke dumping this one out to neutral ice. And Corvo will backhand this one into the zone. Now Verney gets the puck in the corner, gave it to Fask. Carter Fask down to the corner again, being pressured by a couple Caravan bodies, but comes away with the puck, centers it to the blue paint, but nobody there. They try and clear it out. It's kept alive at the blue line, and this long shot is blocked by the skates of McClellan.
Dylan, we've seen the Friars have a lot of time and space with the puck. However, Mount Carmel's been doing a great job of covering the defenseman up top, so that passing lane for the Friars is no longer an option.
Corvo centers it. That's off a Caravan skate, and they will look to get it out. They do get it out with some help from the Fenwick's John Moore, who will be okay with resetting this possession. They will dump this one down, goes below the goal line, tips so no icing. So now another captain of this team, Eric Mercado. Through neutral, around a couple of guys. Mercado into the zone at the slot, try to move, but lost the puck. 40 seconds to go in the first period. Now ahead, Fosco's got a partial breakaway, but he pulled the puck a little bit too far ahead of his body. Still maintains possession though. Owen fast centers it. Fleming in the blue paint. And it's taken away by the Caravan and punched out of harm's way. 24 seconds in the first period as this one goes down below the goal line. Playing it is Alessi. And it goes to the far side half boards. This one takes a deflection, goes right to the stick of Owen Faskin. On net, takes a shot, and that's stopped by the pad of DiFilippo. After the play, a penalty below the goal line. Owen Fast goes down, and Jimmy, I don't know if you have an angle of that on the net cam, but
that's ridiculous, Dylan. I don't care who you're a fan of. That is a cross-check right to the face by Eric Mercado. That is, well, I mean, I don't care who you're a fan of. That doesn't belong in the game and completely unnecessary. I mean, the puck is far gone, and he just takes a cross-check right to the face. I mean, we hope he's okay, but it's completely unnecessary, as thankfully for the Fenwick Friars, Foss is able to get up, but that is cross-check right to the face after the puck is gone, after the play is done. Thankfully, the referee was right there to see it, and we'll see what the call is here.
Well, we got 2 minutes on the board. So, David, I'm not sure.
And
judging by your reaction, I would assume that this would be maybe a 5-minute.
Well, and Nick Fabrini's also, as he's walking off the ice, he's confused too as why that's a 2-minute. I am too.
So the official word is roughing, a 2-minute minor against Eric Mercado. So it'll be a Fenwick power play for 2 minutes on the minor penalty. Fenwick with 12 power play goals in the CCHL. That's 4th best in the league. But right as the first period expires, and we will take a timeout at the benches, and both teams will talk things over. But for the Mount Carmel Caravan, David, you got to think that this is as good of a start as you could hope for coming into this game. Again, you probably don't like the fact that you're being outshot 14-5 after 17 minutes, but you know, realistically, you probably weren't expecting to have the lead after 17 as well.
No, you weren't, but you'll definitely take the lead. However, with 6 seconds left in the period, your captain cross-checks a player right in the face for really no reason. And, you know, being a team on when I played, I was really looking up to my coaches and my captain more specifically. And if I go around and see a captain cross-check a kid to the face for whatever reason, I mean, that's not something that I want to see out of my captain, and that puts your team down for pretty much a full power play that the Friars are going to have here at the start of the second. And that's also a confidence booster in terms of, like, something that's driving the Friars to go out, work extra harder, stick up for their guy, and bury one in the back of the net.
Well, that streak that you mentioned during your pregame interview of Fenwick not scoring in the first period is now extended to 4 straight games, and they trail 1-0 here on the road against a team who is winless in their last 30 CCHL games. The last time they won a contest in regular season play was November 18th, 2021, a 6-2 defeat over Notre Dame College Prep.
And Dylan, that's something that's surprising that the Friars are continuing this drought, especially considering that they have 14 shots. But for the Caravan, DiFilippo is just that really strong piece that really brings this team together. However, unfortunately, you can't just rely on the goalie, but he's the reason that Mount Carmel has yet to let up a goal.
So here's Fenwick now on their power play. They scored 3 power play goals in their most recent game. Still got a minute 36 left to go. Below the goal line, they play catch with it. This quick shot, taken by Senna, I believe, was stopped, and it gets cleared down.
And that's a great give and go again by the Friars, as Verney's is the one who's going to get the final shot on that, and DiFilippo is just almost predicting where that puck is, as he has no problem making that save.
Curtin goes to the right circle, now over to Owen Fask, keeps it in the zone. Fask down to the right wing circle, goes back up high to Curtin once more. Now Corvo down to the left circle, Fask again, centers it, Fosco, he shoots and he missed the net. Good puck movement here by the Friars on the power play. Haven't been able to convert yet. Corvo shoots, and that's into the glove. And a nice looking save for DiFilippo.
I mean, that's a great save. The Friars are really doing everything they can to try and get goals on this power play here. And Dominic Fosco, who I talked to Nick Fabrini about before the game, he was the only player on that power play that decides to take a shot through a screen. However, he just misses the net. But DiFilippo was not able to see that shot, and had that puck hit the net, he would have most likely had a goal, so the Friars got to continue that.
Fask shoots and he scores! It was tipped in, I believe. Johnny Senna got the last touch, and it's a tie game with the power play conversion.
And Dylan, that's something that Mount Carmel does not want to see, especially considering the fact that your captain takes that penalty with 6 seconds left to go. But you're right, Johnny Senna gets a stick on that, and that's the reason that puck goes in, because DiFilippo is not going to have a problem saving a puck if you're just point blank with him. So that tip by Johnny Senna allows this game to be tied at 1.
So now the Fenwick Friars, 2 out of 4 on the power play in this season series, CCHL games exclusive. They'll look to make it more, but here's an interception. Goes down to the corner and a quick steal again. Here comes Fask. Centers it at the slot. Nothing there for Johnny Senna, who just scored the Friar goal. Now DiFilippo will put a glove on it to stop play with 15:09 to go in the second period.
Mount Carmel seems to be throwing the puck around just a little bit as they had that offensive zone pressure briefly on our end. They threw the puck around a little bit, allowing the Fenwick Friars to be able to maintain control of this game, as the shots are now 18-5, benefiting the Fenwick Friars.
Right off the face-off, they'll look to make something happen, but it is kept alive. Left point, another one thrown to the net. Hit a couple things on its way, but rolled wide. Now in the right wing corner, they battle for possession. Fenwick gets it open, net, he shoots, he scores! Thomas Kalla wastes no time, and just over 2 minutes into the second period, Fenwick has scored 2 to tie it and then take the lead.
And Dylan, Thomas Kalla there has the presence of mind to step up from his top left position at defense, and that's exactly what you want to see. I mean, like I said, the really only way to get pucks past DiFilippo is, well, a tip or puck movement. And Mount Carmel made the mistake of leaving Kalla wide open. He was wide open in front, and he did not miss. That's the key for most players, too, is when you have that chance, most players want to go bar down. They want to go top right. They want to go top left. But really hitting the net and scoring looks a lot better than if you miss the net wide.
Amen to that, David. And with that penalty, by the way, earlier in this period by Mercado, don't be surprised if we don't see too many penalties so far in this game. Both these teams at the top in terms of fewest penalty minutes taken in the CCHL. Third fewest in the league for Fenwick, second fewest in the league for Mount Carmel. And we only saw 5 penalties in total between these sides in the first 2 games that they've played, and 1 in this game. And in spite of that, David, it seems like it's been a relatively physical contest. The guys are not really afraid to get in corners and do some dirty work for puck possession.
No, it hasn't. And ever since that hit we see that was called a penalty by Eric Mikado, we just seen the amount of physicality almost ramp up a little bit, especially on the Fenwick Friars side. And once we see the physicality ramp up on one side, it tends to be on both sides.
2-1 in favor of the visiting Fenwick Friars. It was a 1-0 lead after the first period, and it only took Fenwick 2 minutes and 12 seconds to score the game tire and then the go-ahead goal, the first of which was a power play conversion, the other 5-on-5. Here's Verney dumping this one down and then heading off for a change. It'll go below the goal line for Mount Carmel. And possession goes back to Fenwick. Owen Fask whiffed on a shot but was able to get it back up high. Now this is intercepted, and Anthony Wiseman springs ahead. Anthony Flood, now here's a breakaway, a shot by Carrick Londos, and a save made by Alessi.
And that was a good opportunity there for Londos as the Fenwick Friar in front whiffed on a puck, and he found himself all alone. Unfortunately, wasn't able to sneak that bottom left, which looked to be his target.
This shot in and out of the glove of DiFilippo on the rebound. A shot from the point scores. It's Joey Kurzak, and it's a 3-1 lead for Fenwick.
Dylan, that should be Jacob Ferguson's goal, as that was a tip out in front, and that's the 3rd goal that the Friars have scored on either great puck movement or a tip. 2 thanks to a tip, and 1 due to good puck movement. I think that might be Fask. We'll see as it comes in here.
I believe it was
Oh,
Fask.
yes, Fask. My apologies. I mean, that's where the sticks want to be, just exactly. Carter Fask. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see if you're a Fenwick Friar. Carter Fask has the presence of mind to get a stick on it, and he has the certain angle on it that doesn't put it too high or too low and gets right over DiFilippo.
And David, I'm going to give you props on that one because that is an absolute wicked eye to see that in real time. You were spot on. The official goal goes to Carter Fask, and especially being this far away from that side of the ice, that was impressive, David. I'm not going to lie.
The problem was I was reading off Mount Carmel's roster, so we almost gave credit to wrong guy, but I ended up getting it right. I apologize to you, Carter Fask.
There's another goal. Michael Curtin on a nice nifty play to get it to his forehand and punch it by. And in the opening 5 minutes of the second period, Fenwick has 4.
As we look at the replay here, it's just pucks getting to the net for the Friars. That's really all they've been doing. It's a really weak angle shot that gets past. And once you're a goalie, I know DiFilippo's been struggling all year, but once you just have goals and goals and goals against you, your morale as a goalie just continues to go down, especially when you're not getting any help from your team. It's not what you want to see. That confidence starts kind of even throughout the game as, you're up 1-0, and then after goal after goal after goal comes in, when it's almost like you versus a whole team, that confidence just starts to go down.
If you're joining us late, Mount Carmel scored the first goal of this one in the first period. And that was the final score after 1, but in the opening 5 minutes of the period, to be more exact, 4:54. 4 goals by the team in white sweaters out there, and they have expanded their lead to a commanding 4-1 count.
So, Dylan, as I'm looking here, the first of, January 5th is when Carmel last played Fenwick, and after the first period, it was 0-0. Second, 1-1, and then third, 7 goals for Fenwick, and 2 for Carmel. So Fenwick has periods where they have been erupting against Carmel, and this period here, the second, seems to be their period.
And I don't know what it's been for the Fenwick Friars in the first period, but they have just not been connecting lately in terms of league play. And that carries over to this game. I mean, you talk about dominating a team. Fenwick has 25 shots, Mount Carmel with only 6. They've scored 4 goals. This puck takes a hop, almost bounced into the net, but did not. Now here's a centering pass that got tipped out of the zone all the way down. Will it go far enough? Yes, sir. Icing. And a stoppage with 10:37 to go in the second. 4-1 in favor of Fenwick.
And that icing is probably to the benefit of Mount Carmel, as they were trying to get a complete line change, and as opposed to having to get their guys to hustle back on defense, they were able to make that change without having to worry about that. They are going to have a defensive zone draw, but they're going to win it.
And that's the thing about this period, David. I know you talk about it a lot, the long change. Of course, if you're not a huge hockey fan, you don't know what we're talking about. When you switch sides in the second period, this is the period where your bench is in your attacking half of the rink. So it makes it harder to change your players when you're in your own defensive zone. And that's exactly what you were just talking about there with that Mount Carmel icing to get those guys off.
And Dylan, the other thing about being on the bench, just in general, no matter what period it is you want it typically the second, because you see the offensive guys be on the wrong side of the blue line. You want to get that change on sides. And these benches here don't have a lot of room for the offense to jump on the bench on sides. There's not that much room, and there's bigger penalty boxes here than at most rinks. So that's the challenging part for both of these teams, is they're going to try and find ways to get their players on sides as opposed to waiting and having it be offsides. But it doesn't seem to be a problem here, as there is still 10 minutes left to go in the second.
And David, that's a great pickup by you. You look at these benches, the blue line is right about in the middle, if not even more so closer to center ice on those benches. So that's a really great point that you brought up, something I would have never thought about.
That's something that affects a lot too, because you almost get players yelling at each other, scoot down, scoot down. They're trying
Right.
to find ways to, just get onside. Everyone wants to be onside.
Here's maybe a 2-on-1 for Mount Carmel. They score! The man with the puck took the shot from the near side, and it got past the goaltender Alessi, and it is 4-2.
I mean, that was a great shot there. That's exactly what you want to see if you're a Mount Carmel fan. Even being down 4-1, you still get that goal. Now you're down 4-2. You still got halfway left to go in the game.
Now right in front, blue paint. Comes back up high to the left point, and now down below the goal line. Mount Carmel forces it out to neutral ice. They will look to rush in. This game is far from over. Andrew Flood will get official credit for that goal, it looks like. And David, I'm going to be completely honest with you and all of our viewers at home. What was that, a 76 on that guy's jersey? We don't have one on the roster.
We saw 73, Dylan. That's what we saw. So we were looking for the name. We didn't find a name, and that's another check from behind. Nothing's going to be called, but that's okay. They'll continue on. We were looking for 73 on the roster. We did not find it, and we go on a game sheet here. And number 65, Andrew Flood, is going to get credit for that goal. So we will roll with that, as on the Mount Carmel's roster nor our sheets here do we have a number 73. So we're going to roll with Andrew Flood scoring that goal for the Caravan.
Well, that's what will count on the CCHL website, so might as well. We'll definitely confirm that in between this second and third period. But, David, I mean, maybe he's just wearing a different uniform, because I haven't seen Andrew Flood out there in his normal 65 uniform as of yet.
And normally we were looking for maybe a player forgets a jersey, so then you look at the goalies. Is he wearing a goalie's jersey? He was not. He was wearing a 73. But we will get the correct information to you guys at the start of the third period.
All right, well, Mount Carmel coming in hot with that goal. They're looking to add another. In spite of being completely outplayed, David, they have shown various signs of life all throughout this game, and I'm not just talking about their 2 tallies. They're being outshot 28-7, but really all 7 shots I feel like were decent scoring opportunities.
They were, and that's something that is at fault for the Fenwick Friars in terms of having good defense. If a team's only have 7 shots, but they've had a good amount of 2-on-1s, good chances right here.
And here's a shot and a goal! Another one for Mount Carmel. Daniel Fiddler gets his 2nd of the CCHL campaign, and it is a 4-3 game.
And that name we were able to find, but that's one of those where the only shot taken there by the Caravan is going to lead to a goal. And there's a lot of pucks bouncing around, good passing by the Caravan, but that puck out in front gets moved around, finds the stick of Daniel Fiddler, and he's able to bury it. And that's going to give the Carmel, instead of trailing 4-1, they're now trailing by 1 as the score is 4-3.
Much different ball game as LaChance will send this one down. Missed a pass. It'll be an icing. And Mount Carmel will get an attacking zone draw. Cole Alessi in net came into this game with a .873 save percentage. He's made only 5 saves on the 8 shots he's seen.
He's definitely been struggling a little bit. However, he's also hasn't had much action. And I never played goalie, but I know as a goaltender, not seeing much action just kind of gets you out of the rhythm, and you're almost not expecting shots to come your way, as we're a little over halfway through this game, and you only have 8 shots, as you typically see 10 or more shots in a period. So he's definitely getting out of his flow a little bit, but hopefully for the Friars, he'll be able to kind of get back into his groove as we continue on here.
Mount Carmel clawing back in this 2nd period. They were down 4-1 at one point. Now just trailed by 1 lone goal. Here's a shot that hit the knob of the stick off the side of the net. Then a centering pass gets taken away by the Friars. Verney gets it ahead. Here comes Carter Fask with it. Tried a centering pass, but that goes off a Caravan stick. Nice defensive play by the brown sweaters there. They keep it alive, though. Fenwick do. Here's a move around 1 and a shot and a goal, and what a goal it was. Wow, Owen Fask undresses a defender and gets the 5th one for the Friars.
That's a great shot. Well placed there by Owen Fask. The classic skate right, shoot left. Finds the bottom corner on DiFilippo instead of deciding to shoot it top left, top right, and missing the net like most of the players we see. And that's exactly what the Fenwick Friars needed. They needed that boost, that little energy to continue them on before the Zamboni and the break between the 2nd and 3rd.
So a wild 2nd period after a quiet 1st. 1 goal in the 1st period, 7 so far in this one. We've still got 6 minutes left of action before we break for the Zamboni intermission. Mount Carmel looking for more here as they punch this one down to the corner. Fleming will take it away for the Friars. Out to Fosco now. Fosco shoots, and that's into the glove of the Caravan goaltender, Matthew DiFilippo. 5:52 on the clock, 5-3 in favor of the visiting Friars.
2-on-1 opportunity there for the Friars, as Fosco is going to decide to shoot that one glove side on DiFilippo. I would have liked to have seen a little bit of movement from that puck, especially considering the fact that all their goals have caused DiFilippo to have movement in some way, and that one he was kind of just standing still on.
Well, it's funny, David. It might not be too surprising that Fenwick turned on the Jets in the 2nd period. You look at their goal differential per period in CCHL play, -7 in the 1st, +23 in the 2nd. So for whatever reason, this Friars team just performs a lot better during the long change.
And that's something that is almost, teams are trying to get warmed up to each other in the 1st period, but that's not something you see out of many teams is a lot of success in the second period, especially considering the fact that there is that long change. Most teams are just trying to get through that second period.
Here's a centering pass attempt by Mercado, but it gets intercepted. And here's a long pass and a partial look, a backhand desperation attempt by Johnny Senna, who already has a goal in this game, wouldn't go, and 4:44 to go on the whistle.
We're going to get a penalty again by Eric Mercado behind the play. Penalty that is not what you were supposed to be taking if you are the captain. Behind the play, a little push and shoving that was not necessary, and that is going to put the Friars on the power play once again. And they could make this a 6-3 lead late in the second.
Well, 1 for 1 on power plays so far in this game. 2 out of 4 in the season series.
And actually, Dylan, Eric Mercado leads the team in penalty minutes by almost double. So at 42 before the game. He is now at 46, which would put him in the lead for the team by 20 penalty minutes, which is not what you want to see out of your captain.
Yeah, I was about to make that point if you didn't, David. Just uncharacteristic for a guy with a C on his chest to take that many PIMs, but that's the way it works out for Mount Carmel on their roster, and he's in the box once again. Here's Curtin behind his own net. Fenwick looking for their 5th power play goal in the last 5 periods. Comes up high to Curtin. Off the boards now, Owen Fask. Down low. That was Verney with it. Gets it up to Corvo. Slides it over. Left side circle down below the goal line again. Touch pass and a quick shot off of DiFilippo. It stays out. Fenwick gets possession back. Corvo takes a shot right into the breadbasket of DiFilippo. And the Caravan help punch it out to neutral.
Great movement there by the Friars. If I'm the Friars coach, fan base, I'd love to see that movement, especially on this power play. Great movement, however, DiFilippo standing very strong for the Caravan. And that's this reason that the Friars only have 5 goals as opposed to 7 or 8.
Here's a quick touch pass. This one off the crossbar and bounced on top of the net and stayed out and gets cleared down to Fenwick's end. We'll try and catch them in a partial change. Here comes Moore into the zone. Moore from a tough angle. Got his shot deflected by a stick up into the netting. And suddenly, David, just like that, only 13 seconds to go on this power play.
And that power play flew by very quickly. And that's something that you want to see if you're Mount Carmel, especially because you don't want to let a goal up if you're late. If you're late in the second period, no matter what team you are, really, if it's Friars or Mount Carmel, but you want to see that power play or that penalty kill killed off, which is going to give you momentum late in the second and heading into the third.
Mount Carmel, one of 2 teams without a shorty this season in the CCHL, the other being the Notre Dame Dons. They get clear it out to Fenwick's end. Here's Moore as the penalty expires, and the Caravan get their first killed penalty of this one. 1 for 2. Now this one's dumped down into the zone by Vincent Ciocci. Battle for it in the far side corner. Fleming in there. Emmett Carr as well. It's kept alive right point. Mount Carmel with it. Here's a shot and a penalty after the fact. And now a little bit of commotion by the Friar net. Down goes a man for Fenwick. And these 2 teams starting to not like each other more and more as we play on.
I believe Senna's going to go to the box for hooking. Sorry.
Maybe we might have coincidentals here. I'm not sure. It looked like a Mount Carmel player was on his way.
Yeah, it looked like he was a little confused. Kala's going to go to the box for the Friars for hooking. That's a good call there by the officials as Mount Carmel had a good offensive zone chance, a little 2-on-1 deep into the zone, trying to move that puck over, but wasn't able to because of the hooking by Kala. And that's going to give Mount Carmel power play with 2 minutes left to go here in the second. There's a lot of commotion going on in front of the net.
Only 7 seconds separate the penalty time and the game time, as this quick shorthanded shot out of nowhere was stopped relatively easily by DiFilippo, but probably wasn't expecting that.
No, he was not. Thankfully, he was there. You have your captain out in front, Eric Mercado, being a little tame with the puck instead of trying to move that or find open people. And the Friars were putting good offensive pressure on him, and they were able to get a good shot on net. And if DiFilippo wasn't paying attention, that puck probably would have ended up in the back of the net.
1:28 to go in the period, 1:21 on the Mount Carmel power play. They will drop the puck at center ice. And a scrum for the puck, 50-50. Who's going to get it? Still no clean possession. Finally, Fenwick grabs it and dumps it down. Goes below the goal line. Mercado out there, trying to free up this puck, but Fenwick keeps it alive. Now, they've got possession in the attacking zone while shorthanded. Moore off the boards. Grabbed now by Johnny Senna. Under a minute to go now. Here's Senna again off the boards. Goes down below the goal line, and Fenwick has been in the attacking zone for almost 30 seconds now while shorthanded. Finally, the Caravan able to get this one out. Here's Mercado, left circle, he shoots, and just barely getting a piece of that was Alessi. Might have been on its way to miss the net anyhow. Now Moore with 30 seconds left. Couldn't hang on to this puck cleanly, so in with tons of speed for Mount Carmel is Jacob. He helps get it to Leahy, who shoots, and Alessi makes the save.
And thanks to Jacob on that play for Mount Carmel, as he's the reason this puck is Mount Carmel is able to have offensive pressure left with 10 seconds left. He gets off there right off the bench, and he puts a lot of pressure.
Fresh out of the box is Corvo. He's got a breakaway. He shoots, and it's stopped by DiFilippo at the buzzer. Then after the fact, more pushing and shoving down in the far side corner, and David, this is getting ugly.
Yeah, we're going to get penalties. DiFilippo, the only one on the ice who's not going to go anywhere near that. Good decision by him. We're going to get penalties. It is in the exact opposite corner of where we are. But once that buzzer expires, there's really no need for shoving, as there was a late hit after the play. So we're going to see what is called here. Not quite sure what it's going to be, as this netting is not only is it thick, but it's also in the other corner. And both teams are going to head to the locker room, and the officials are going to have to discuss. And we will update you guys in the third as what is going to be called.
Well, David, before we take a break on the broadcast, just wanted to mention Mount Carmel. Again, they're looking for their first win in CCHL play since November of 2021. They've been playing a pretty solid game against Fenwick in spite of trailing by 2 goals after 2. What have you liked from their game specifically?
I've liked Mount Carmel's persistence throughout the game, as we see both coaches kind of getting a word from the officials in terms of what is going to be called, so they know that going into the third. But their persistence have been good. You know, normally when you see teams down 4-1, just kind of lay off the gas, not keep going. But Mount Carmel keeps going. They keep pushing. They keep finding ways to put pucks in the back of the nets. Even though Mount Carmel only has 12 shots on goal, they have 3 goals. So they're scoring on 25% of their shots. And that's not something you want to see if you're a Friar. However, thankfully for them, they do have 5 goals. So the Friars are going to be leading the game in the third, 5-3.
All right, well, lots of things to take care of, the penalties, and a whole 17 more minutes of action here from the south side of Chicago at Morgan Park Sports Center. Matt Booten on the camera, David Ventura to my left. My name is Dylan Ward. Jimmy the Wiz Olsen will roll some highlights to keep you company. We'll mute our mics, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to the CCHL Network's Game of the Week. We have got a good one through 2 periods. The Fenwick Friars here on the road in Morgan Park with a 5-3 lead over the hosts, the Mount Carmel Caravan, who are looking for their first CCHL win since 2021. My name is Dylan Ward. David Ventura has been with me all night in the booth, but now he's standing by at the Caravan bench with head coach of Mount Carmel, Tom Mahan. David, what do you got?
Thank you, Dylan. I'm here with head coach Tom Mahan. Coach, you guys are down 5-3 heading into the third. What do you want to see out of your guys to help prepare you guys of this victory?
First of all, the young guys are playing great tonight. We have to stay out of the box. Their power play is killer. We have to stay out of the box, right? I think they have 2 or 3 power play goals already. The young guys are playing fantastic. I'm very proud of them. I mean, they're playing hard. We got to kill this penalty, and then we got to go.
Coach, despite Filippo allowing 5 goals so far, he's had a lot of success tonight. What do you like out of him so far?
Yeah, he sees the puck well. He's big. I mean, he saw a lot. I'm guessing he's in the 30s already tonight. Yes, so, God willing, he keeps us in there in this third, and we go get a win here.
All right, thank you, Coach. I'm going to send it back up to you in the booth, Dylan.
Thank you, David. It is indeed in the 30s. He has 32 saves on the 37 shots he's faced. Mount Carmel with 12 shots on target so far. The teams have returned to the ice, and we'll have a talk with their coaches at the bench. And as head coach of the Caravan, Tom Mahan, pointed out, they will start this third period shorthanded after all of that commotion at the end of the second period. So we'll see what we have here. There's a Fenwick player in the box as well. One Mount Carmel player, and now a second is joining. I believe that's for a 2 and a 10 penalty against Thaddeus Kolke for head contact. So we are underway. We've switched back to our first period sides. And Fenwick on the power play for the third time tonight. 1 out of 2 so far. And welcome back to the booth, David.
It's a long way up here, that's for sure.
Here's Fosco. Drops it off. Now Fleming with the puck. Down to Verney. Below the goal line. We'll get our first look at this Fenwick power play here on our near side. Fleming again. Now Verney being pressured by Mount Carmel. Ferguson in there, but a centering pass off a stick, and Owen Fast gets it instead. Up high, Michael Curtin plays it off the near boards. It's grabbed by Anthony Wiseman. He will try and clear it out, and he eventually does force it out to neutral ice. Mount Carmel will switch 2 of their 4 penalty killers, and here comes Fask now into the zone. He'll ring it around the boards, goes to Senna. Now tipped out of there again. Curtin will play it back in his own end. Here's a steal by Mount Carmel and a shot and a goal! What a move. Andrew Flood gets the shorty for the Caravan, and it's their first shorthanded goal of the season. It brings them back within 1.
Now that one will be Andrew Flood's goal, but Dylan, that is another defensive breakdown by the Friars that we've seen today. We've seen multiple of those. And Mount Carmel has capitalized on almost every single one of them, and that's exactly what you want to see if you're a fan or a coaching staff of Mount Carmel. Normally teams aren't able to capitalize on defensive breakdowns by their opponents, but Mount Carmel has had absolutely no problem doing that tonight.
It really has been a great performance by Mount Carmel. Here's a shot, and it hit something on its way, but got stopped by the pad. By the way, we can confirm that Nico Medina, who usually wears number 16, was that goal scorer wearing a backup uniform number 73. Here's a save by DiFilippo, and he makes another one. He's now seen 1 shy of 40 shots.
And that's the reason Mount Carmel's in this game. As I spoke to Tom Mahan about, he's been impressed with his goaltender all year, and he does not disappoint today.
Kala shoots, save on the rebound. It's punched in. The initial shot was taken by Alex Matasiak. I'm not sure if he's going to get credit or if it'll be Kala for the tap in, but it is now a 6-4 lead, and we've had a shorthanded goal and a power play goal on the same penalty.
Fenwick had absolutely no problem responding, and DiFilippo's making good saves in front. He's trying to get back, but he just has really no help from his defense, and Fenwick's able to capitalize on that chance with the defensive breakdown for Mount Carmel, giving them the 6-4 lead.
So we are back to square one. A 2-goal lead for Fenwick, just like it was when we entered this third period. 6-4. Plenty of goals in this period. Fenwick, by the way, extends a streak to 5 straight games, scoring 4+. Here's Fask again, trying to make it 7. He gets taken down from behind on the rebound. Matasiak saved by DiFilippo. And then the goaltender pushes the net off its posts, and it gets cleared all the way down. The play will continue. He tries to fix it now.
Well, so Dylan, that is, like I've talked about in the Glenbrook South Hockey broadcast, those pegs do nothing. He's just trying to make a push off from that left post. So we could see here that net's right there. I mean, those pegs really don't do anything. But the Friars had a good offensive zone draw, or offensive zone chance, as Fask was really leading that charge. He had a guy wide open in front, but he decides to try and shove one in past DiFilippo. But Dylan, those pegs are not really doing what they should be doing, and it's really easy for that net to come off. I'm surprised the whistle did not go, but the net is now back on its moorings.
Now this shot gets deflected away. Fleming on the rebound out to Tantero, but it gets taken away by Reese Windsor, and he will dump this one all the way down. You know, you talk about the nets, not the netting, but the actual goals. The pegs that they use in the NHL have some give to it, but they're still physically drilled pretty deep into the ice. And, of course, back in the olden days, they used to actually drill the nets themselves into the ice. That caused some injuries, so they switched to those peg-type things. But like you said, here at the high school level, all they really have are those forks that they can try their best to jam it into the hole, but it's never really going to be entirely secure.
And that hole is not really there every time the Zamboni goes over it. It's almost like even with all the other of the ice. And that really doesn't do nothing for the net. Surprised it stays on most of the time when it does. But once a goaltender tries and push off from it or make an aggressive push from one end to the other when he's trying to make a big save, that net just flies off.
That looked to be offsides to me, but no call, and a shot from Corvo is stopped by DiFilippo.
Pretty good rush there by the Friars. DiFilippo is still keeping the Caravan in this game. That's the reason it's 6-4. I mean, DiFilippo has been keeping this team in most of the games he shouldn't be in throughout this year, and this game as well.
And here's another shot and a save by DiFilippo. Rebound, another save for Matthew DiFilippo. And David, we're less than 5 minutes into this, actually just over 4 minutes into this third period. DiFilippo's already seen 12 shots.
And DiFilippo there, he makes 3 good saves, one of which is a poke check. But he makes the save. He corrals the puck into his chest, makes contact with that post, and the net goes off the pegs. And thankfully he was able to freeze that puck so it didn't cause any controversy. But when that net comes off, really all it does is make people in the crowd and the players too mad, because that net really shouldn't have come off, and most of the time it does disrupt a good offensive opportunity. But DiFilippo had 3 great saves there.
Carter Fask with speed around one. He takes a shot. That's on target. A save for DiFilippo, and once again the net off of its posts.
Carter Fask, a lot of speed there. He's going to run in the net, so that faceoff is going to be outside of the zone. But he just has that speed. Tries and cut through the Carmel defense. Almost does so. However, doesn't do so completely, and DiFilippo just steers that puck away, and Carter Fast knocks the puck or knocks the net off its moorings, and that faceoff's going to be out of the zone.
Just talking a little bit about Fenwick's goal differential. The first period, -7. The second, +23. And in the third period, it starts to slow down a little bit. +9. They're still in that positive range, however.
And that's what you want to see, right? Despite the fact that there's a little bit of almost like a roller coaster ride in terms of plus minuses for first, second, and third periods, you're in the positives in all 3 periods. Or sorry, for the second and third period. The first one is obviously could be a little bit better, but based off the start of this game, after that first period today, their goal differential after the first is going to go from -7 to -8.
Right.
But they need to get off that hot start that they're hoping for. And as they go into the playoffs and in state, they're going to need to try and find successful ways to do that, because teams are going to take advantage of that, especially as once you head into the playoffs, there's only good teams left.
Right. And, you know, that's sort of the thing about the regular season at the high school level, David, is, you know, you're playing for your positioning, not really to make the playoffs, because, you know, here in the CCHL, 8 out of the 9 teams in the league make it. SHL, 8 out of the 10 teams make it. And in the state playoffs, everyone makes it. Some teams get buys, of course, into the later rounds, but pretty much any team in the state of Illinois starts in the state tournament, as we have a penalty coming up against Fenwick. The whistle will sound, and it'll be a roughing call. I think it's Jake Alessi, brother of the goaltender for Fenwick.
That's one of those where Jake Alessi was trying to make a defensive play. However, stays with his man a little too long. The puck's gone. Throws his man to the ice, and he gets called. And that's going to put Mount Carmel on the power play. Down 6-4 with 10 minutes and 45 seconds left. So they have a chance to make this a 6-5 game with less than 10 minutes left to go in the third.
Again, Mount Carmel with the fewest power play goals in the CCHL, only with 2 to their credit. They try a wraparound, that wouldn't work. They keep possession alive for a moment. Fenwick does clear it out. Wasn't clean, but it'll do the trick for the Friars. And Mount Carmel will have to reset. They bring it into the zone. Flood takes a hit into the near side boards, and he goes down, right back up. That's good news for the Caravan. They still have possession of the puck here with a man advantage and 1:20 to go on it. Here's a shot from an impossible angle, and that was stopped by Alessi. And now Fenwick comes the other direction. Here's Corvo over the blue line. He will take a backhand shot, and that's stopped by the goaltender.
The Friars having that offensive zone chance gives them the opportunity to change their defense, which is not what you see a lot on when you're killing a penalty. So the head coach of the Friars, Nick Fabrini, yelling at his defenseman to get off the ice, and you don't get many of those opportunities when you're killing a penalty.
That was close to too many men there for the Mount Carmel Caravan, but no call by the official. Fenwick continues to pressure, shorthanded with 30 seconds to go in the penalty. Now Mount Carmel takes it away, and Ramiro will dump this one down. It will not go far enough for icing. Slowed down at the last minute, but Fenwick able to grab it and dump this one down with a tip into the corner and below the goal line. Fantastic penalty kill here by the Fenwick Friars. Senna tried a shot from a tough angle. That wouldn't work, and now out of the box is Jake Alessi, and we are back to 5-on-5 hockey.
And the Friars, they just keep, despite being on the penalty kill, they just keep peppering shots on DiFilippo. They are now up to 53 shots on goal to Mount Carmel's 13.
49 and 64 shots on goal in each of the 2 games in the season series thus far for Fenwick. Out shooting the Mount Carmel Caravan coming into this game 113-23 and 33-4 in the third period in those 2 earlier meetings. Here's a quick shot from a tough angle by Mount Carmel. That's stopped by Alessi. 8 minutes to go, third period. Mount Carmel down by 2. Trying to come back and secure their first CCHL victory since 2021. Owen Fask on a 2-on-1 centers it. Here's a shot, and did DiFilippo get a piece of that?
Believe that hit the outside of the net. We'll take a look at this one.
This one's sent down. I know Jimmy's got that replay queued up at the next whistle. Now, here's a hit, and down goes Medina. Carter Fask out to Fosco. Dominic Fosco lost it. It's taken by the Caravan. They will try and clear it out, but it's kept alive by the Friars. Now near side corner. It's both Fask brothers right and close. Owen Fask unintentionally blocked it, but it sets up Carter to try and swipe this one in, and diving back to put a glove on it was DiFilippo. What a save.
I mean, that is, well, there's 2 great plays there by DiFilippo. I believe the first one hits the outside of the net. I thought we're going to go with that here as we don't have the best angle in terms of where our booth is. But on the second one, DiFilippo saves that one off the goal line, sprawls back, gets it with his glove as that puck was trickling across the goal line, and he keeps this. It keeps his team down by 2 with 7 minutes left to go in the third.
The CCHL All-Star in net for Mount Carmel. You look at the scoreboard, you see 6 goals allowed by the goaltender, and that is just not an accurate representation of the game he's played tonight. You can't say very often that a goalie can allow 6 goals and have a tremendous game, but in this case, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Fenwick's looking for number 7. This centering pass got deflected away, and it gets taken out by Mount Carmel.
And throughout this game zone, we've noticed that Fenwick has had phenomenal puck movement, really getting DiFilippo to move across the net, finding wide open guys in the offensive zone and in the neutral zone too. But they've had a very easy time finding open guys here. Here we go.
Flemings was waiting at the blue line, takes a big hit in open ice from Eric Mercado. Fenwick keeps possession alive. Here's Buckley trying to get in there to force that one by, wouldn't work. So Mount Carmel plays it off the glass, and it'll go all the way down for an icing. 5:46 to go in period number 3.
Fleming trying to be way too pretty with the puck there, as opposed to either moving it himself as he had that extra room, or moving it over to one of his teammates. Instead, he tries to make a toe drag and gets lit up as the Mount Carmel player finds him with his head down. Does exactly what you're supposed to do when a player's got their head down. Just go for the hit.
LaChance keeps that in the zone just barely, but it gets taken away by Flood and forced down into Fenwick territory. Here's a dump in by Curtin. It'll go down below the goal line and found by Mount Carmel. Harkenrider couldn't get it outside the zone. Here's LaChance, but it gets tipped away by the stick of Berlatimino. Now here's a shot from the left side, and that's stopped by the goaltender for Fenwick. 5:12 to go in regulation time. 6-4 in favor of the visiting Fenwick Friars, looking to go 2 games over 500 with a win.
Pretty good play here by both teams really in the third. It's about even so far. We've got 1 goal by the Friars in the third and 1 goal by Mount Carmel in the third. DiFilippo is the reason why Friars only have 1 goal in this period as opposed to many more. He's been making very athletic saves throughout this game. But with 5 minutes left to go in the third here, Mount Carmel's got to find a way to bury pucks.
Now chasing after this one is Matiziak. Catches up to the puck, throws it on net from an impossible angle. That was below the goal line, and it deflected off Mercado for a decent chance. Now here's Carter Fask again. Tipping this one into the zone. Mercado there to grab it for his side. Fenwick keeps it in the zone. Giving up now, here's Anthony Wiseman. He gets taken down, no call. We will play on as Mount Carmel into the zone. It's Windsor. He takes a hit into the corner by Kala. And here's Fenwick again. And we have a penalty against Fenwick behind the play, high sticking the call.
Dylan, a lot of unnecessary shots by really both teams. However, Kala's going to go to the box for high sticking as there's just really no intent to play the puck. They're really by either team. Kala's got his hands up and his stick up, and he is going to get called for high sticking here. It was almost bound to happen for, really what you want to do when you make a hit is gain yourself with the puck. But seems like as we continue on here with only 4 minutes and 17 seconds left to go, there's been a lot of hits just kind of to hit, and that's why those sticks have been up, and Kala's going to find the head of a Mount Carmel player and give him a power play with 4 minutes left to go and giving Mount Carmel a chance to capitalize on their opportunity.
An instant clear by Fenwick is a good start to this PK, looking to make it 5 out of 5 against Mount Carmel on this season series. Here's Moore, shorthanded. He will dump this one down to the near side corner. 3 minutes, 47 seconds left. David, if you're head coach Tom Mahan, are you pulling your goaltender a little earlier than normal here because you already have an advantage?
Dylan, this is one of those rare cases where I'm not quite sure what you do because Friars have had so many opportunities today, and if it wasn't for DiFilippo on the net, obviously you want the extra guy, but a lot of this game has been spent in Mount Carmel's end of the ice. And Dylan, that should be a penalty on the Friars there as their backup goalie and some of the players are pushing and shoving right in front of where that play is, but I think Mount Carmel is going to get called for a penalty here.
And the referee escorts Blaine Bertolimo to the box. Only 4 penalty minutes for him so far this season. There's number 5 and number 6. And it appears as though Fenwick is going to come out of this one without a penalty.
Yeah, they are. That pushing and shoving was from...
Never mind, Moore takes a seat.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they're taking both of them. Obviously we'll see on the game sheet here, but, I would have called the penalty for the pushing and shoving from the Fenwick bench as that whistle had not gone yet.
Well,
but
they're going to call a timeout here, and it's a Fenwick timeout with the lead. And 57 seconds to go on the Mount Carmel power play.
John Marr is going to go for cross-checking. So they're going to take both of them for cross-checking, even them out, which should put it 5-on-5. Well, not 5-on-5. It's going to be
5-on-4.
Yeah, 5-on-4.
Remaining what it already is.
Right.
And so, interesting call for me for Fenwick to call this timeout. I thought a timeout was coming, but I figured it would come from Mount Carmel's side. What do you think they're discussing there on the visitors' bench?
It's more of how you're going to calm your guys down, right? Because there's been a lot of commotion so far. You got that 6-4 lead, and you still have a minute left to go to kill on the penalty. So you got to figure out ways to, number one, keep your guys out of the box, right? Before we weren't necessarily expecting a lot of penalties this game, but there have been several penalties this game. You got to find a way to keep your guys out of the box, and with the ceiling being relatively high here, you can flip pucks out of the zone. It doesn't have to be clear. You can get the puck, bring out the 60 degree, and flip it right in the middle of the neutral zone. So they have that option.
So DiFilippo will stay in his net for now. They'll drop the puck in neutral ice. 2-goal lead for Fenwick. 57 seconds to go on a Caravan power play. Can they find 2 goals late here? Fenwick wins the faceoff. And they will chip this one down. Goes below the goal line, takes another funny hop off the boards. That's something we've been talking about tonight, David. But Mount Carmel does recover this puck. Wiseman got it intercepted. Now here's Curtin. All alone he shoots, and DiFilippo gets enough of it. So now here comes Mount Carmel the other way. A shot taken and a pad save made by Alessi. 2 minutes, 38 seconds to go, 20 seconds on the power play. We'll see if they pull DiFilippo in favor of a sixth attacker. Now would be the time to do it if you ask me, down by 2. Now below the goal line, they look over their options. They got a nice centering pass to the slot, but couldn't make anything happen out of it. And now the goaltender will make the skate and then circle back to the bench after that because Fenwick dumps it down.
Not quite sure why that wasn't a penalty right in front of the penalty box. We're going to move on here. There's 2 minutes left to go. 6-4 lead for the Friars.
DiFilippo still in his net for now. Mount Carmel waiting for sustained possession before they sub him off. Now into the zone for the Friars came Fosco, but it got tipped out to neutral ice. Down in the Caravan zone, 1 minute and 30 seconds to play. Got to get DiFilippo off, and now he does make the sprint. So 6 attackers out there for the Caravan. An empty net to shoot at for Fenwick. A stuff attempt gets covered by the goaltender, and some more pushing and shoving. Lots of commotion in the blue paint on Fenwick's half of the ice.
Which is kind of what was bound to happen as the Friars were going for that jam puck there. The whistle hadn't gone yet, but the goalie kind of more or less froze that puck. And when you got guys going hard, especially with a minute 24 left, 2-goal game, so it's very close. DiFilippo leaves the net, and you got a 6-on-4. Now it's just how do you maintain that pressure but not take a penalty here if you are a Caravan? Which we might get something here. I think we're going to. Or it might be a timeout.
Well, now this is probably Carmel's timeout. Mount Carmel, that is. And they will talk things over. Fantastic game so far. Lots of entertaining action, back and forth hockey. But at the end of the day, it has been Fenwick dominating Mount Carmel here on the road. 56 shots to the Caravan's 19 and a 6-4 lead.
Yeah, and Fenwick, they just keep peppering and peppering and peppering shots. DiFilippo's made 50 saves today, which is not something you say every day if you're a goaltender. Most people or most teams get right around 30 shots a game. So the Friars have had many opportunities to shoot that puck, get pucks by the goalie, but DiFilippo standing strong, only allowing 6 goals on 50 shots, or 56 shots rather, making 50 saves. But we're going to see what Mount Carmel's able to do after calling their timeout, giving some of their top guys the rest, and they're going to have a 6-on-5 advantage as DiFilippo is going to stay on the bench for this last minute and 24 seconds.
19-7 are the shots favoring Fenwick in this third period. Mount Carmel looking to pull off a comeback here, down by 2 with 1:24 to go and 6 attackers on the ice. It'll be the captain, Eric Mercado, to take the left circle draw. He wins it back to the point. Here's Ferguson now. Goes down low with it. And it's grabbed by the Friars. They're content with just playing keep away here. They're not going to try for that empty net and risk an icing. Caravan keep it in the zone. And now this one's forced out. That was a pass intended for Fleming. It missed him, so it'll be an icing instead. And another attacking zone face-off for the Caravan, but with 1 minute, 1 second, they're running out of time.
Not much time left here for Mount Carmel, like you said, Dylan. The Friars are going to find ways to just be able to kill off clock, whether that be holding the puck in their defensive zone, with the skates in the corner, or just flipping the puck out of the zone, off the boards, whatever they may do. We'll see what they do here as they go for the empty net.
And it just misses wide. It's an icing.
Which, Dylan, I don't like that idea. I don't like just throwing it all the way down, because now there's another offensive zone draw for Mount Carmel. So as opposed to kind of killing some clock off, you're giving them another offensive zone chance with 56 seconds left. So you killed a few seconds off the clock there, but not enough to guarantee yourself the victory.
And David, that's the thing. When you have an empty net, especially at this high school level, sometimes the players will get a little bit too selfish and think that they've got a wide open chance to score a goal and pad their stats, but they risk doing something like that, as you said. Now 46 seconds to go. Here comes Fenwick rushing into the zone. Here's Fleming towards the empty net. He scores! And that'll clinch the win for Fenwick. A 7-4 lead with 35 seconds left in the third period. Great backhand chip by Flemings for the extra point to the touchdown for Fenwick. And now the Friars, in 4 games played against Mount Carmel this season, have scored 8 goals, 7 goals, 8 goals, and 7 goals tonight. Unbelievable. This team matches up very well against Mount Carmel. It was a close game early on in this period, but they pulled ahead as this play is stopped for a whistle for a freeze. Just 27 seconds now on the clock. David Ventura on his way down to ice level. I'll get a word in with maybe the head coach of Fenwick, maybe a player. We will see. Carter Fask circles back outside the zone. And a win for Mount Carmel will have to wait another day in the CCHL as Fenwick takes care of business here in Morgan Park, sweeping the season series against the Caravan and winning by a final score of 7-4. There's the buzzer to make it official. The Friars come off to celebrate, and the teams will shake hands at center ice. And the coaches will join that line as well, and we'll stand by here as David decides who to interview down there. 57 shots for the Fenwick Friars, only 6 by the goaltender. An unbelievable performance for DiFilippo. 19 shots for Mount Carmel. They made it count, scoring 4 goals. In a lot of cases, 4 goals will be enough to win a hockey game, but not tonight, as Fenwick's offense delivers once again. And the fans begin to file out of here as we continue to stand by here with David Ventura, getting ready for an interview. And looks like it will be the coach. So, David, whenever you are ready.
All right, thanks, Dylan. Coach, you guys were able to complete the season sweep against Mount Carmel. What did you like out of your guys today that allowed you to get 7 goals on a successful goalie like DiFilippo?
If I say one thing on the micro fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fenwick Cup champions, we're back, baby. Let's go!
I love the way that we stuck to the game plan. Got down 1-0. Thought we were the better team for most of the first period, and they got topped the first goal, and it was good to see us stick to what has made us successful this year, and getting pucks to the net, getting bodies to the net, moving without the puck, and playing fast. So it was really good to see them stick to that plan after it didn't go our way in the first period.
And, Coach, the game got a little physical as it continued to move on throughout the game. What did you say to your guys or like from your guys that got you staying out of the box?
I like that we stood up for each other tonight. It was a little bit of a chippy game. We always talk about how important it is to keep our composure, but I think it's important to stand up for your teammates also when the situation calls for it. But we did a really good job of making sure that we didn't let our emotions get the best of us. We kept our hands down, kept our sticks down, didn't let things escalate, and we really talked about making sure we had everybody available for Ignatius on Saturday. That's a really big game for us. So we've got Ignatius and then Bennett and then Ignatius again for the next 3 games. Really going to learn a lot about ourselves here. We need everybody available.
All right, tough stretch for the Flyers for Fenwick coming up. Thank you, Coach. I'm going to send it back up to you in the booth, Dylan.
David, thank you very much, and thank you for joining me here in Morgan Park. It was a really fun game. The team that was supposed to win on paper comes out with that win by a final score of 7-4. We want to thank you for tuning in to the CCHL Network's Game of the Week. We sure had a fun time. We hope you did too. Matt Budin was on the camera tonight. Jimmy the Wiz Olsen, our technical engineer. And for my partner, David Ventura, my name is Dylan Ward, saying have a great rest of your Thursday night, and we will see you next time on the CCHL Network.